Superstation is a VarAC extension that's a game where you can build your virtual ham radio station and earn points by connecting with operators all around the world. This is for part 4 of our video, and I would encourage you to check out the first 3 videos in the series by looking at the playlist. And be sure that you like the video and subscribe, because that helps promote this content to other amateur radio operators on YouTube. And with that, let's go ahead and step into our last video in the series. So my name is Jason Johnson, amateur radio operator Kilo 3 Juliet Sierra Juliet. I'm the developer of Superstation, which is a game that Mark Rosnick, KB0US, and I came up with, and we've recently released to the ham radio community. This is an extension to the VarAC application, and it adds an element of gameplay and lets you build a virtual ham radio station and connect with others online. We would encourage you to take a look at our website by scanning the QR code below, or click on the link in the comments of this video to be taken to our website. We have a weekly net on Wednesdays where you can check in using VarAC email gateways. You can also find a link to downloading Superstation and installing on your computer. And on that website, there's an extensive user guide in a variety of languages, as well as walkthrough videos that show how to install the application. This is part 4 in our video series. In our previous videos, we covered the gameplay, mechanics, and philosophy behind Superstation and the user interface. We talked about the station score and the upgrade process of how you upgrade. That's through using the broadcast command and the role mechanic. In the last video, we talked a lot about the contact score and the requirements that it has to be a 10-minute QSO and it has to be with another human. And it discussed at length what goes into the automatic scoring algorithm and maximizes your chances of being scored as a human-to-human contact. Finally, we talked about the grid square and how you have to log that with your QSO. In this final video of the series, we're going to talk about the reason why we need the grid square and how that's used for the distance multiplier of your overall station score. And I want to end the video by giving some tips on how you can use these techniques to maximize your experience and maximize your points in the game. So to start out, you must configure your grid square in VarAC. I believe in a later release, this is a required parameter, but you need to include this information in order for your scores to reflect your distance multiplier. And you do that by going into the VarAC settings menu, My Information, and you'll see that there's a locator portion. Be sure to get your grid square and you populate it out, and it needs to be in the form all uppercase letters as well as 6 characters in length. We use the grid square of your location as well as the information that you request from the other station to calculate the overall distance between those 2 locations. And that becomes your distance multiplier, which is the maximum distance across all your QSOs in the contest period. We do this by measuring the distance in kilometers between the 2 grid squares. And a reminder, you must populate the loc field in the log entry in order for the calculation to be made. If you forget to provide this information when you log the QSO, there's no way to do it afterwards. And check out our previous video with some suggestions on how you can maximize your chance of filling this out, as well as ways to automatically inquire this information from your QSO partner. Now let's talk about some tips on how you can maximize your chance of getting points. The first is a tip to go into the settings menu on logging, and you want to enable load history upon connection. And what this will do is it will auto-populate the grid square for any QSO that you previously had or when you fill this information out. You also want to make sure that on the main screen of the VarAC application, on the bottom right, there's this auto log QSO selection. And while you're playing Superstation, make sure the auto log QSO is turned on. And that will assure that once the QSO is disconnected, you don't forget to log it. So if you are operating unattended, go ahead and untick that, meaning turn that feature off when you're not playing Superstation, so you won't be logging QSOs when you're away from your keyboard. Another thing that you want to do is that may help is setting up some canned messages. So I have my welcome message with a very short statement, welcome to my station. And the very next thing that I have is I send this loc R tag. And what that'll do is once the station connects, it will send a command to the remote station, and it will ask them to return back their grid square. Now, this is a shorthand way of getting this information. The other way to do it would be sending an info request. But recall, with info, you're asking for a lot of information. You're asking for their name, the name of their QTH. A lot of operators put their rig and hobbies and all kinds of information, which takes up a lot of time on transmission. And for cases where you have a low SNR, you can really take a lot of time being spent on getting back information that doesn't count for your line count total. Because recall, you have to have at least 4 keyboard-to-keyboard communications. So by filling out this in your welcome message, and when they connect, you automatically get the grid square, first thing. Another canned message that you may want to provision is for the role mechanic. And recall, the role tag is used to provide a chance to upgrade your element of your station. And put the role tag in a canned message, and then you can put in the URL to our website. This lets other operators learn about Superstation and promote them to take a look and maybe download. And then if they start using the application for human-to-human contacts, it helps you also get upgrades to your station score by having those human-to-human contacts. And when you select the broadcast to send the message, there's a drop-down you can pick the canned message. All right, so in summary, in this particular video, we've talked about the Distnce Score mechanic, as well as how you set up your station to provision your grid square in the settings. And we've gone over a couple tips on using Superstation with VarAC. That would be turning on the auto logging during gameplay, so you don't accidentally forget to log the QSO. We talked about using the load history to get the grid square. We also talked about upgrading your welcome message for your station. So the first thing that you request is the location grid square of your QSO partner. This will auto provision that information in the line of the log. And if provided that you have a QSO at least 10 minutes, as well as human to human, meaning 4 lines on each direction for type keyboard activity, you'll get an increase in your QSO count. So I appreciate you tuning in to this 4-part video series on the Superstation game, which is a VarAC extension. I would encourage you to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because this helps promote the content and helps other amateur radio operators find this material. If you have questions about Superstation, you can reach us at our website by filling out a contact form, and Mark and I will review that and get back to you. And we hope that you enjoy the Superstation app. Mark and I have enjoyed creating this and engaging the community as we help to promote more human-to-human contact on the radio bands. And appreciate you watching this video series, and please check out the website and install Superstation. And on behalf of Mark and myself, this has been Jason, Kilo 3 Juliet, Sierra Juliet. I trust that you're doing well, and until we meet again, 73.